Sitting on the western edge of campus, just a block away from the strip of Guadalupe Street, famously known as the Drag, is the Gordon White Building, named for Doctors Susan G. Gordon and Edmund W. Gordon, and their generous gift of artwork by the artist Charles White. The legacies of Drs. Gordon and Mr. and Mrs. White are a lifetime of work advocating for children, education, and social justice, so it is fitting that the building should be occupied by both Black Studies and Latino Studies, two departments whose inherent purpose is the advancement of social justice through scholarship. The university has a motto: what starts here changes the world. We believe that much of that change is taking place within the walls of the Gordon White Building among students who, under the guidance of committed scholars, go on to become engaged community members and driven leaders who change our world for the better. The Black Studies Department at the University of Texas at Austin is like no other in the country. With a history rooted in activism, the collective draws its strength from four distinct yet aligned campus units: the African and African Diaspora Studies Department, the John L. Warfield Center for African and African American Studies, the Institute for Urban Policy Research and Analysis, and art galleries at Black Studies. Black Studies at UT serves as a premier destination for interdisciplinary scholarship and cultural expression for students, faculty, visiting scholars, and the community at large. The African and African Diaspora Studies Department is the hub for interdisciplinary scholarship and creative production that explores questions of social justice for Black people around the globe. With over 50 primary, jointly appointed, and affiliated faculty members, it boasts one of the largest faculties of any Black Studies program in the U.S. It was the first Black Studies department to grant PhDs in the Southern United States. It offers more than 30 courses each semester and maintains a robust domestic study program in New York City. The department's undergraduate degree emphasizes critical thinking and writing and political engagement and awareness, a versatile course of study preparing students for careers in a variety of fields. The Warfield Center is the cultural center and programming division for Black Studies. Established in 1969, the center has been a focal point for campus and community life for those whose work involves cultural expression and analysis and fosters social justice for people of African descent around the world. In 2008, the center was named to honor the legacy of Dr. John L. Warfield, a beloved professor and community advocate. Dr. Warfield founded a number of initiatives to support Austin's Black community, many of which still exist today. Art Galleries at Black Studies, or AGBS, is the proud home of the Christian Green Gallery and Idea Lab, two galleries that support, promote, and sustain the arts as an expression of creativity and social justice. As the host of artist residencies, guest lectures, panel discussions, and artist talks, AGBS is a hidden gem on the sprawling UT campus. The Institute for Urban Policy Research and Analysis combats anti-Black racism using a racial equity framework. A team of policy researchers, evaluation and research design experts, demographers, and a cadre of bright students produce research, policy briefs, and reports, all with the goal of advocating for and supporting the community-serving organizations on the front lines of change. Down the hall, you'll find Latino Studies at UT. With Black Studies, they are working hard to uphold the mission of ethnic studies by creating space to explore and understand the lives of Latinos in the U.S. and advance Latino thought and advocacy at the University of Texas at Austin. Since 1970, they have grown from a student initiative calling for courses on Mexican American topics to a collective of 3 units. Today, Latino Studies includes the Department of Mexican American and Latino Studies, the Center for Mexican American Studies, and the Latino Research Institute. The Center for Mexican American Studies was born of the Civil Rights Movement, during which Chicano students, inspired by the civic action of the 1960s, demanded representation on campus in the form of Mexican American topics added to the university's curriculum. Thanks to their collective action, the center was established at UT in 1970, just as many other ethnic studies programs were being instituted around the country. Today, the Center for Mexican American Studies connects our students to the Austin community through outreach and public events, including their annual pop-up pachanga, a popular outdoor celebration of Latinx arts and culture featuring art-making stations led by working artists, DJ sets by local musicians, free food, and more. In addition to bridging the gap between the university and the community, the center's events serve to bring the Latino community that exists on campus closer together over shared culture and values. The Department of Mexican American and Latina and Latino Studies is home to the academic major and minor and is one of only a few programs in the country to offer Latino Studies doctoral degree. Students study immigration, education, healthcare, law, and policymaking in order to better understand the structural making of government and address the issues that have the greatest on-the-ground impact in Latino communities. Outside of classes, Latino Studies stay busy year-round, recording new episodes of the official Latino Studies podcast, Latinexperts, working with organizations like the Children's Defense Fund, the Texas Advocacy Project, and the Cine Las Americas International Film Festival through the department's paid internship program, a new feature that guarantees students paid professional experience. The Latino Research Institute takes a research-based approach to issues affecting Latino populations in the region, state, and nation, and works closely with policymakers, activists, and other community partners to turn research on topics like immigration, women's and mental health, and education into practice and produce the data and analysis that is vital to sustaining healthy, productive, and just environments for Latinos. Alvaro Huerta wrote the following in an essay titled, "The Right to Ethnic Studies in Higher Education." As an interdisciplinary scholarly field, ethnic studies is about self-respect and self-determination. It's about rejecting the scholarly practice of being objects of studies. Instead, we demand to be the subjects in this equation. As subjects, we don't need outsiders writing our stories, narrating our histories, and planning our futures. As subjects, we too create knowledge. At Black Studies and Latino Studies, our staff, faculty, and students boldly reclaim the narratives that have told our history, shaped our present, and defined our future. We are anchored in our self-respect and self-determination, telling our stories through cultural exploration, scholarship and research, first-class teaching, and transformative policy research and analysis. What starts here in the halls of the Gordon White Building is changing the world and Black and brown people's place in it.